Most Hypixel Skyblock players think that farming is a boring money making method which only makes about 15 million coins per hour. But this is far from the case. Today, I'm going to show you how to hunt pests, and how this method can make you up to 50 million coins per hour during Mayor Finnegan. Even on an Iron Man profile, this method makes over 30 million coins per hour, which rivals the top mining methods in the game for a fraction of the setup cost. It will also get you shards which are valuable for Iron Man progression as well. So make sure to like and subscribe if you do want to see more guides just like this one, and without further ado, let's get on to the video. The first thing we're going to talk about is of course going to be the setup. The base setup for this method doesn't actually cost too much money. However, there are quite a few things which you should be adding to it to increase your rates. However, this will be fairly expensive. Anyway, so here is what you're going to want to buy. You're going to need a full set of biohazard armor, with Pestonator 5 at least, if not 6. You're going to want to get the Bustling Reforge. Mossy is not required at all. You will also need a 3/4 Fermento set with the Rancher's Boots. Depending on what farm you're using this method on, you may go for 4 out of 4 Fermento, if your farm does not require a speed cap. However, if you do need to use a speed cap with your Rancher's Boots ability, then you will need the 3/4 Fermento. On your armor, you're going to want to have Pestonator 5 or 6, not for the bonus pest chance, but actually because it gives bonus fortune. The Mossy Reforge, ideally. You can use Bustling, but you will lose some profits. A Recon Bobulator, and Flawless or Perfect Gemstones. You are of course going to need a decent set of farming tools. This method will work on any type of crop, apart from I would not recommend doing it on melon or pumpkin farms, as the pests can get stuck in the farms if you have multiple layer farms, and this just makes the pests a bit of a pain to farm. You will need a BD InfiniVacuum Huverius, but you will not want any bookworm books. We'll get onto why that is in a minute. The next thing we're going to talk about is your equipment. For your main equipment set, when actually spawning the pest, you're going to want to use 3/4 of the Pest Hunter equipment with the Pest Vest. All of these should have the Squeaky Reforge, and if you can afford it, get a Recon Bobulator and a decent level of the Green Thumb enchant as well. However, the last two things I just mentioned are not necessary whatsoever. You will also want the David's Cloak. You may be thinking, why the hell do we need this for farming? And that's because it gives 30 Hunter Fortune, as well as also is mythic. So when you have the Rooted Reforge on it, it actually gives a decent amount of farming fortune. But the main thing we're looking for here is the Hunter Fortune. Plus 30 Hunter Fortune, that's a 30% chance for an extra shard when killing a pest, which is going to come in super crucial later on. If you want to go and find out how to max out your David's Cloak, as well as also other parts of your Hunter Fortune, then do make sure to go and check out my recent hunting progression guide. I'll leave that video linked in the top right now. Make sure to go and check that out if your Hunter Fortune is currently really low. The next thing we're going to talk about is your pets, and you're going to need 3 different pets for this method to max out your efficiency. The first of these is the pet to actually spawn in these pests and to maximize your bonus pest chance. For this, you're either going to want to get the legendary level 100 slug pet or the legendary level 100 mosquito pet. Either way, you're going to want to get a brown bandana on this pet. Mosquito pet will give you 10% more bonus pest chance than the slug pet, as well as also making pest finals 50% more effective. This means that you can get more of the pest that you want, but the mosquito will cost 50 million coins more. So if you have the money, it's worth the upgrade. However, if you don't have the money, the slug is a good budget option. There are also some other smaller items which you will need. The first of these being the Pest Hunter artifact, which will give you plus 60% bonus pest chance. You will also need the Sprayinator, which this will give you some more bonus pest chance when you spray your plots, as well as also halving the amount of crops you need to break to spawn a pest. You will also need a medium pocket black hole, as this will allow you to hunt the pests and capture them and their shards. And finally, a squeaky mouse mat to set your farm angles efficiently. That's all of the setup which you're going to need. Let's now move on to the attributes which will buff your rates. There are quite a few different attributes which you're going to need to maximize this method. Some of them will affect the method directly, increasing your fortune or giving you more pests, and some of them are indirect and can do things like increase your chance for rare visitors, which will produce some profit on the side. The very important attributes which you must get include the pest attribute, which will give you more chance of rare loot from pests. The Termite attribute, which will give you more fortune when a pest is present. The Crow Beetle shard, which will give you a high chance of dropping rare crops. The Lunar Moth, this one is quite expensive, but will give you 50 fortune at night time, which with the Night Saver will be permanently nighttime on the island. So this is a permanent 50 fortune, very useful indeed. There are some other attributes which buff fortune ever so slightly, but these are insanely expensive, so not worth it. Indirect attributes include the Dragonfly, which will give you +5 farming wisdom, Mudworm, which will increase the spawn rate of visitors, Invisibug, which will increase the chance of rare visitors, and Ladybug, which will increase the amount of copper you get from visitors. All of these will increase your indirect profits, but are not needed to actually increase the profits from pests. Okay, so that's all of the setup and all of the attributes complete. You're probably feeling quite overwhelmed, but stick with it. This money making method is more than worth the effort. Let's now go over how to actually do this method, what keybinds you'll need, and the techniques used to maximize your profits. To start off with, let's go over the keybinds which you'll need to maximize your efficiency. This will require the SkyTools mod, or alternatively, if you're playing 1.21, you can use /permanent macros for this as well. So do /st, and then go to the edit key shortcut section. And there are quite a few key shortcuts which we're going to need. And bear in mind, you do not need to use the same keys that I'm using. You can use any keys which are comfortable for you. And of course, it does depend on what keyboard you have as well. You need to have a key set to /EQ, a key set to /SetSpawn, a key set to /SHLock mouse, and this will require the Skyhanny mod, a key set to /wardrobe, and a key set to /warp garden. I'd recommend having /EQ, /SetSpawn, /SHLock mouse, and /warp garden in a similar area of the keyboard. Mine are all over on the right hand side of my keyboard, as these you'll be pressing in quick succession. So if you're having to jump around your keyboard a lot, this may be inefficient. For your wardrobe, you're going to want to of course have your hotkey to open the wardrobe, and then you're going to want to have your fermento set, and then your biohazard set within the first 2 slots. Or any 2 slots, it doesn't really matter, but the first 2 will be the most efficient. Then you'll be able to press 1 or 2 to swap between them. Just like so. Your equipment, of course, you're going to start off with the 3/4 Pest Hunter equipment, and then the Pest Vest. You're also going to want to have your Rooted Davis cloak, and if you're feeling really sweaty, a set of fermento boots to swap into for maximum farming fortune. However, again, this fermento boost is not necessary. For your hotbar, you're going to have the Infinity Vacuum in your first slot, and again make sure there are no bookworm books, your pocket black hole, your farming tool of choice, your aspect to the void, your fishing rod, your sprayinator, and your squeaky mouse mat. You will have a spot spare, don't worry about that. There's 4 pet rules which you're going to need. The first of these is on equip your wardrobe slot of your fermento, equip your hedgehog pet, and this will be used when we swap into fermento to kill the pests. You're also going to have one for when you equip your biohazard, equip your mosquito pet. This is to maximize our bonus pest chance as soon as our pest cooldown is ready. You're also going to want to have when throw a fishing hook, equip your hedgehog, unless you have a hedgehog already equipped, and then the same for the mushroom cow, equip it on throw a fishing hook, except if you have a mushroom cow equipped. So whenever I throw my fishing hook, you can see it swaps to the other pet. And this is useful when farming, as of course we're going to need the mushroom cow when we're farming a fermento in between our pest cooldown. To be honest, it does not really matter which crop you farm, as they all have roughly the same profits, give or take a few million coins per hour. For me, I'm going to be testing this on the carrot crop, as this is personally my best for money per hour with the stuff that I have. I would not recommend that you use the melon or pumpkin farms, as these can be tedious to get pests out of, so stick to a basic crop with ideally a decently sized farm which you won't run out of space in. For your pests, if Pest-Terminator books are above 210,000 coins per, which currently they are, you're going to be wanting to farm the beetle pest. However, if Pest-Terminator falls off in price, you're actually going to want to farm the slug pest. So pick the correct bait and vacuum settings according to which pest you're farming. Now let's go and show you some farming in practice so you know what keybinds to press when and how to farm efficiently. As you can see, my pest cooldown is just about ready. So swap your biohazard, which will automatically equip your mosquito pet, and then shift and keep on farming, and then eventually your pest will spawn in. Then use your rod swap to get back to your mushroom cow, get back to your fermento plus rancher's boots, and keep on farming until that pest cooldown is ready again. If you have over 300 pest chance, you won't be negatively affected by 4 pests spawning in. So you're good to just keep on farming. Hopefully you do have that amount if you have bought the entire setup. So about 2 seconds left on this pest cooldown, so we're going to swap to our biohazard, shift and then keep on farming, and then just keep on going until your pests spawn in for the second time. There you go. So we're going to swap to our fermento, set our spawn, unlock our mouse, then put on our fermento boots and Rooted David's cloak. Then we're going to go and find the pests, vacuum them once, and then black hole them. Again, make sure your vacuum does no more than 600 damage, but at least 540 damage. And it can be a bit fiddly to get there, but with the praying mantis shard and other variables like that, you will be able to get there eventually. Just keep on going around, hit them with the vacuum once, then place the black hole, and then swap to your farming tool for maximum farming fortune. Do this for every single pest here until you've killed all of them, and then warp back to garden, which will warp you back to where you left off. We can then swap back to our normal equipment, we can swap back to our biohazard as our pest cooldown is ready, and then we can just keep on going. So that's a basic example. It's very much just rinse and repeat. Some other tips and tricks that you might want to use. First of all, if you come and talk to Philip, who's on the left side of the main building in the garden, here you can give him your pests for an additional 200 farming fortune if you give him 40 pests. This will last an hour and is definitely worth doing. Also, with any spare pests that you have, you can buy stuff in his shop. Among the best items to buy here include mouse traps, the Pest Hunter artifact, biohazard armor, and the Pest Hunter's equipment. I would not recommend going for any of the other items here. In total, buying stuff from this shop can equate to an extra 4 million coins per hour or so, which for passive profit on the side, that is definitely worth doing. I would also recommend placing 3 mouse traps on your island, as these will passively fill up with pests, which can give you extra profits, extra shards, extra goodness. So get your vacuum and your black hole ready, and then you can release these. You can also get the field mouse in here, which you cannot get normally. Then release them. You can do the same for all of the traps here, very easy, and some nice passive money again. There you go, another farming milestone as well. And this is also the best way of increasing your farming milestones and getting Skyblock XP on the garden as well. So if you haven't done this money already, I'd highly recommend doing it ASAP. There are other small garden things that you can do as well for more passive profit, like claiming your visitors for garden XP, as well as also more money, and also filling up your composter as well. That can also give you some passive profits. Overall, the garden is one of the best places for passive profits. If you haven't bothered with the garden yet, you're definitely missing out. Now let's get on to the good stuff, the profits which you can expect to make with this method. I did a 20-minute test to test it out with my setup, which by the way, it's a good setup, but it is not yet maxed, so bear that in mind. So let's go and see how much money we were able to make. That's the final pest to wrap up the 20-minute test. Let's now go and see how much money we've made. So first of all, in the bazaar, if we check in our sacks, we have about 8.6 million coins. Adding on to that, about another 119,000 coins in random stuff in our inventory, as well as also a few different vinyls which sell for 50k each. That's another 200,000 coins. In total, that's roughly 9 million coins in bazaar/NPC items. So per hour, that would be 27 million coins. And bear in mind, that's with pretty much no big RNG. I only got 1 crop RNG drop there, which is incredibly unlucky with my fortune. If you have higher fortune, if you have better RNG, if you manage to drop a slug pet, you can get a lot more money per hour. You can get up to about 40 million coins per hour at absolutely hyper maxed peak rates. If we then also go and look in our hunting box, you'll see that we have 117 pest shards. If we take these out by shift right clicking them to get a stack of them each time, then go and sell off of these on the bazaar, that would equate to 5.3 million coins in 20 minutes. 5.3 mil times 3, that's an extra 16 million coins per hour, add on to the 27 million coins we've already made. In total, that's about 43 million coins per hour with no major RNGs, and my setup is not even maxed. So this is a pretty crazy money making method. If you add on the extra 4 million coins per hour by selling pests through the Philip NPC, as well as extra profits from visitors and the composter, this can easily make you over 50 million coins per hour while on the garden in Hypixel Skyblock. So I definitely recommend doing this while Finnegan is in office. Outside of Finnegan, of course, this can still make up to 30 to 40 million coins per hour. It's very much not dead and buried outside of the mayor. So that will conclude today's guide. Please do let me know down below in the comments if you do have any questions, and I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I possibly can. Do make sure to like and subscribe if you did find today's video useful. It really does help the channel, and we are of course pushing for 30k subs and the YouTube rank. Thank you all so much to everyone for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.